The 6-0 Chiefs are headed to Allegiant. The last team to beat them, the 2023 Raiders. Can Max Crosby and the defense stump Patrick Mahomes once again? NFL Media's Jeffri Chadiha gives his take. And who will step in and step up on offense? Super Bowl champ James Jones joins the show. Plus, he's the man making big plays on defense. We sit down with Raiders corner Jakorian Bennett. The Silver and Black Show starts now. Welcome into the Silver and Black Show. I'm Amber Theoharis. 2-5 is not where the Raiders want to be, and with Aiden O'Connell going down, it feels like the hits just keep on coming. But this team isn't ready to quit. We saw that in the fourth quarter against the Rams. The Chiefs, though, are the best team in the AFC right now, but the Raiders' 12th-ranked defense is capable. And if anybody knows the formula for beating Kansas City, it is the last defense that was able to do it, led by Patrick Graham. To talk about the matchup, NFL Media's Jeffri Chadiha is kicking things off here on the show today. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you, Amber. Always great to see you.
Yeah, I love Kansas City week because we get to catch up with you. I know you're there in Kansas City. A lot of people in national media, I don't know where you stood on this going into the season, thought the Raiders really could be a dark horse this season. That really hasn't been the case. So what is your opinion on the reason why the Raiders right now are 2-5?
Well, they've had some significant injuries, especially that defensive line was supposed to be a big part of their success. And Malcolm Kuntz is on IR, and Christian Wilkins is on IR. And so you lose some of the big pieces there. Obviously, Davante Adams, that situation got sideways in a hurry. So that's a big playmaker you're expecting a lot from. And they just haven't been able to figure out the quarterback situation. I know Gardner Minshew had a big win against Baltimore, and Aiden O'Connell played well last year against the Chiefs, but they haven't found that mainstay of that position. And when you don't have that, it's always hard to win games.
And now in the position where they have to bring Desmond Ridder in from the Cardinals practice squad, how do you see that playing out?
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's not a great place to walk into right now with, a lot of, like I said, Davante Adams being gone, and you've got Brock Bowers is a good, promising tight end, but you don't have a ton of weapons around him. I just feel like their best opportunity to get better at that position is probably going to come in next year's draft.
That might be the reality of it, but they got to find a way to win. They were able to do it when nobody said they could do it last year, going in on Christmas Day against the Chiefs. Would you say the best way to attack Steve Spagnuolo's defense, if you're the Raiders, considering what you're just saying about the quarterback position, is to run the ball? However, with the caveat that the Chiefs do have the 4th-ranked run defense in the NFL.
Yeah, they do. And look, some of that's been by circumstance. They've played a lot of offensive lines that have been beaten up. People don't really remember that part of it. But New Orleans had some issues. The Chargers had issues when they played them up front. And so I think that you can make hay, but you have to have a good offensive line, and you have to have a commitment to the run game. And you saw that from the Raiders last Christmas when they played against the Chiefs. They threw the ball, it seemed like 8 times in that game, if I remember correctly, and really ran it hard with Josh Jacobs and took away Spagnuolo's ability to really be creative with his blitz packages. And so I think that's got to be a key to this game, is being able to neutralize what Steve Spagnuolo can do with that defense with his schemes.
It's going to be really interesting to see what Spagnuolo does to try to stop Brock Bowers. In general, the Chiefs have not been great against tight ends. They've given up a lot of receptions, a lot of yards to tight ends. How do you see that matchup? Is that a mismatch for the Chiefs?
It is a mismatch for the Chiefs, and a lot of people haven't been able to exploit it because they haven't been able to be successful in those early downs and avoid the blitz packages of Steve Spagnuolo. But you look at the Ravens game specifically, Isaiah Likely had a big game against them. Mike Gesicki in week 2 with the Bengals had a big game against them. And so their middle of the field defenders like Nick Bolton at linebacker, Leo Chenal, the safeties, those guys aren't great in coverage. And so, yeah, I do expect Brock Bowers to really have a key role in this contest.
All right, let's switch over to Patrick Mahomes. So much talk about him. He hasn't looked great. I mean, when you look at his line from last week against the Niners, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That looks like a backup quarterback somewhere. I benched him in fantasy. Never thought that would happen. How, though? Sorry to admit that. I did draft him, because I want to win in fantasy. But how is he finding ways to win?
Well, one, he knows how to win, and so that matters a lot. He understands how to embrace the way they have to play to win games now. He's grown a lot from the guy who was the 50 touchdowns, 5,000-yard passer back in his rookie year. He's not so committed to making the big plays. He'll run the football if he has to do. He'll throw the check down passes. He's not going to take a lot of chances right now. They want to play to their defense. That's one thing about DeAndre Hopkins coming in that is going to be interesting because he's a guy who relies a lot on contested 50-50 balls, and Mahomes is one of the worst in the league in throwing those. But yeah, basically, he's just trying to do the best he can with a limited supporting cast.
And what do you think is going to happen with DeAndre Hopkins? Do you think he'll just be thrown right into the offense, lots of targets, or probably not too much against the Raiders?
I think it'll be hard for him to come in right away and be a contributor. Andy Reid, before he made this trade, talked about how hard it is for new players to come in who don't know the system and have a big impact. That's why they wanted to find somebody who had been in the system before. So I think he's going to come in, take a couple of weeks to get acclimated. You know, the thing I don't really know is how healthy he is. He had a knee injury in the offseason. He didn't have big numbers in Tennessee, 15 catches. And so, again, it's going to be interesting to see how he mixes because they've had opportunities to get him before. And the word coming out of the Chiefs has always been he doesn't fit what we want to do. He's not a big separator. He's not, a guy who gets downfield. So I'm anxious to see how it plays out, but I don't think it's going to be a big impact.
All of a sudden, he does what they want him to do when Juju goes down and when Rashee Rice goes down. All of a sudden, he just fits in.
Yeah.
Hey, who was the guy? Because it was always Travis Kelce, right? That the Raiders defensive coordinators had to circle because he would kill him across the middle with those big chunk plays, especially. Who is the guy now that Patrick Graham really needs to look out for?
Well, believe it or not, it's Kareem Hunt and the interior of that offensive line because that's become their biggest weapon. Kareem Hunt's been, a huge surprise here. You talk about desperation. They had no interest in him until all of a sudden they needed a running back. But he's been pretty good. He had 78 yards rushing last week, and he's had over 20 carries the last couple of games. But the interior of that offensive line with Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, they've been killing people. And Andy Reid is running the football, believe it or not, almost half as much as he's throwing it, which has never happened before. So they got to stop the run first and foremost.
Also, the Raiders have got to stop Kansas City from converting on third down. Third down is going to be huge. Raiders defense right now, though, is second in stopping teams on third down. Very good at it. Meanwhile, the Chiefs are fourth in converting it. So what has allowed the Chiefs, from what you've seen, to sustain these drives despite all the interceptions from Patrick Mahomes? They're still winning time of possession battles.
Yeah, well, they know who they are. And I believe last year, you go back to that Raiders game last year, they really understood they had to change the way they operated offensively if they were going to win a championship. And they did that. They became more reliant on a few players, less concerned about spreading the football around. And that's what they're doing again this year. You look at their numbers, really, with Rashee Rice is still their leading receiver. He hadn't played in like 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah. So they're really relying on Kelce. They're trying to get Xavier Worthy going. They'll throw it to Juju or obviously DeAndre Hopkins moving forward. But really, it's going to be Kareem Hunt, Carson Steele, Travis Kelce, and not many big plays.
Well, the Raiders love to hear that. Hey, tell me this. Answer this question. The Raiders will win if blank.
They will win if they duplicate what they did last year. And it is achievable. I've been telling people that with this version of the Chiefs, I don't know what their ceiling is because it's not very high, but their floor is probably lower than people realize. And they can lose to anybody because of the way they play. New Orleans game was a 2-point game in the fourth quarter. The Niners game was a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. They're giving you opportunities to do something. So if the Raiders can get ahead and make them not run the ball as much, they got a chance to win this game.
And last year, it was all about pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Lots of sacks, tackles for loss. They were all over him. So, Jeffri Chadiha, we can always catch you on NFL Media. So good to see you. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Same here, Amber. Always great to see you.
All right, coming up next, he is a Super Bowl champ, FS1 analyst, and most importantly, a Raider. It's the homie, James Jones, next on the Silver and Black Show.
In 300 feet, turn left.
With Cox's fiber-powered internet, you can do brilliant things.
Exit approaching.
Like upload your voice to Dad's GPS in no time flat.
And I miss you, Daddy. Happy birthday.
Get multi-gig download speeds powered by fiber. Upgrade your internet today with Cox, the nation's fastest internet provider. Limited availability in select areas.
Every year, millions fly with us at Allegiant because together, we go places. We see old friends and try new things. We laugh. We really like to laugh. And reconnect. We remember. And we wander, which leads to wonder. From how we go to where we go to what we do when we get there, we go further together.
Some days are long, some nights never end. I mark the fleeting seconds glide, I pray to the coming wind. And time like snow never stood around for me. I love every sky I've
The Silver and Black Show is brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. 1800 Tequila, official partner of the Raiders. Taste is everything. Please drink responsibly. And by Allegiant, the official airline of the Raiders. Low fares, non-stop flights, only at Allegiant.com. Raiders.com is your home for all things Silver and Black, featuring exclusive interviews with players and coaches, breaking news, and daily content. Raiders.com keeps you up to date all season long. The Raiders will try to stop a 3-game skid this weekend at Allegiant against the undefeated but sloppy-looking Chiefs. To tell us how they can do it, a man who always keeps it 100, our own James Jones. JJ, what's going on?
What's going
How are
down?
you?
What's happening?
Well, I'm gonna.
Finally, good to see y'all.
It's good to see you, and like I say, you keep it real. So I'm going to ask you a series of simple questions here. Let's start with this: can the Raiders win with Gardner Minshew?
Yes, Gardner Minshew in defense, they can win. The Kansas City Chiefs they are 6-0. They are the Kansas City Chiefs, but they are not playing good football, especially on the offense side of the ball. Patrick Mahomes, the best player in the world, is not playing good football. They really don't have the weapons out there. That's why you've seen the trade for DeAndre Hopkins, because they know they don't have the offensive firepower. They don't have Pacheco in the run game, and Patrick Mahomes is not playing at a high level. So Gardner Minshew, take care of the football. Do not put the defense in harm's way in short fields, and we will have a chance to win this football game. But we got to take care of the ball, and we got to play really good defense.
Don't know if we would see Desmond Ridder this week, but can he help the overall quarterback situation?
No.
That was a simple answer. Yeah. I understand what you're saying. He was on the practice squad backing up Clayton Tune. Yeah.
Yeah, and if he can, it's not going to be no overnight thing. It's going to be, get in here. You still got to learn this system. Obviously, to be honest with you, I don't think he can give us more than Gardner Minshew can give us. But if he can get in here and learn the system and, show some flashes of learning the system, and Gardner Minshew does not play well, and, we're finding ways to lose games, why not put him in there to see what he can do? But just my initial reaction is no, I don't believe he gives us more than Gardner Minshew.
All right, who has been giving the Raiders something is Alexander Mattison. He's just a few yards short of 100 yards last week. What are you seeing from him?
I love the yards after contact. I love the way he's running the football. And to be honest with you, we're going to have to lean on him, because the better you can run the football, the more you can stay on the football field, the more you can stay in, manageable down and distance, and you keep Patty Mahomes or whoever the quarterback is on the other side, on the sideline. So if we could run the football, that's a game changer for us if we're able to run the football. Because not only that, you take the ball out of the quarterback's hands to limit his mistakes. If we can do that and lean on Madison and he can be able to crack them 100 yards and be able to really run the ball the way he's been running it, the Raiders' offense will be just fine.
So it doesn't matter that the Chiefs have the 4th-ranked run defense and the 20th-ranked pass defense. You still got to run the ball. Luke Getsy's got to run the ball?
You got to start with running it. Obviously, if they are shutting it down and you cannot get anything happening, then obviously you try to throw the ball against their defense. But to be honest with you, the Kansas City Chiefs are always up in so many games. Teams are not able to run the football. And I think that's why the numbers are lopsided, because so many teams are trying to pass the ball to be able to score with the Chiefs. Are they behind on the scoreboard? But you have to start with running the football. And if you can't, then you pass the football, but you got to try to run it.
I'll tell you, though, this team can't get behind. They just can't play from behind. Is that an accurate assessment?
They're not built like that, first off. You know, you're not built to play from behind. You don't have the explosive quarterback. You don't have a lot of the explosive playmakers on the outside. You're not built to play from behind. You're built to play on schedule or ahead with the lead. I would love to see them be able to play with a lead to help our defense out, but they're not built. The type of team we have, we're not built to play from behind, and that's fine. No team want to be playing from behind anyway, but the Raiders are not built to play from behind. We got to stay ahead of the game. We got to make sure this game is a one-score game, and we can be able to run the offense that we want to run and play some good defense.
The Raiders lead the league in turnovers. It's the word we keep hearing over and over again. They have 16 this year in 7 games. How does a team begin to clean that up? Have you ever been in that situation where that has to be a focus at practice?
Well, the crazy thing about it, Amber, is it's a focus the first time you walk out there at OTAs. Remember, I always talk to you and you always laugh at me, which is cool, but I say I was sleeping a lot of meetings. But one thing I
doesn't surprise me. When you were awake, what did you see?
Well, when I was awake, the thing that I know best is if you turn the football over, no matter what team you're on, the 15-1 Green Bay Packers, the Super Bowl champion Green Bay Packers, the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, the Super Bowl champions Oakland Raiders, LA Raiders, if you turn the football over, you do not have a chance to win the football game. You are going to lose the game. So this is a bad thing for us to have, turning the football over. We have to take care of it. It is okay to punt if I'm the quarterback. Don't take no chances down the football field forcing throws. Protect the football when I'm running the football. And on defense, man, the second person to the party, we work on this at practice all day. The second person to the party, punch the ball out. We are seeing this over and over around the National Football League. This is taught now. The peanut punch, boom, it's taught now. The second person to the party, punch the ball out. We have to get some takeaways on defense too. But offensively, man, we got to take care of the football. We got to do a better job.
On the other side, the Raiders defense is now going to have to stop DeAndre Hopkins. Could you imagine being DeAndre Hopkins and you've got Will Levis and Mason Rudolph, and then the next day you're like, you know what, I'm going to go out there with Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. Yes, he hasn't had a good year. Look at his quarterbacks. Should the Raiders not sleep on him with Patrick Mahomes?
You know, they say favor ain't fair, Amber. And, you know, they always say God is good. DeAndre Hopkins woke up in a very, very bad situation, and he woke up 6-0 with Patrick Dane Mahomes. So he is in a really good situation now. But no, if there's one person that you do not sleep on, that's DeAndre Hopkins. I've watched a lot of film on DeAndre Hopkins. He still can run. He still can make the 50-50 catches very, very easily, look like 80-20s. He is still a guy. You have to account for him. And Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid is going to have a plan for him to get him the ball. They do not have a number one option. Travis Kelce's not the number one option anymore. He is slowing down. I know a lot of people don't want to say it, but he's slowing down. That's why you go and make a trade for DeAndre Hopkins to put another threat out there to help Patrick Mahomes. It's not a coincidence that Patrick Mahomes is struggling this year. He doesn't have the receivers to create separation. They started off with it, you know, Hollywood Brown, Rashid Rice, and all that, but those two dudes got hurt, and he doesn't have them now. So you better believe that DeAndre Hopkins is going to see a lot of targets, and they are going to have a plan for him. So Raiders must know you got to slow DeAndre Hopkins down.
But even with Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes not having good years, how in the heck do the Chiefs still have a top 10 offense?
That's a really good question, Amber. That's a really good question.
Third down. I mean, they're great on third down. They convert when it counts, and I think time of possession is probably a big reason. Despite the turnovers, Patrick Mahomes is tied for the league in interceptions, but yet has a top 10 offense. It's crazy. They find ways to win.
Yeah, credit the defense, too, because the defense is putting them in really good situations, you know, creating takeaways, putting them in short fields. But, yeah, Patrick Mahomes has more interceptions than he has touchdowns, and they 6-0. And it sounds crazy, but that's the facts. But they do a really good job, and they do a really good job of just knowing how to win. And you brought it up. Third down is the key down to where you have to be extremely good. Even if you're bad offensively, if you're good on third down, you're going to be able to sustain drives and put points up. And that's what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing right now. And not only that, Patrick Mahomes is making the plays when he has to make the plays, whether it's with his arm or whether it's making plays with his legs last week like he did against the San Francisco 49ers. So with Patty Mahomes under center, they're always going to be a legit offense. Numbers-wise, may show other, but they're always going to be able to score some points and put up numbers with Patty Mahomes.
I'll tell you, the one time he wasn't able to do that was last Christmas against the Raiders. The Raiders defense sacked him 4 times, had a forced fumble and a pick, both of which were returned for a touchdown. So the defense was out there scoring. What is the key to keeping Mahomes off balance again?
Getting pressure. I think that's the key to any quarterback. I don't care how great you are. I don't care if you got a Hall of Fame jacket waiting for you. I care about none of that. When you get pressure on the quarterback, and I played with some great ones, and Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre and all that, they get in the pocket and they get happy feet because of the pressure. They are different quarterbacks. So the main thing is to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes, to force some error throws, because he showed you this year he will press a little bit trying to score, and we could get our hands on some footballs and intercept some of these balls from Patrick Mahomes. But pressure to slow down Patrick Mahomes and his Kansas City Chiefs offense. We're gonna need another outing like that from the defense. I ain't necessarily saying you got to score, because that's tough. But we're going to need to put pressure on Patty Mahomes, and we're going to need to take the ball away if we have a chance in this game.
All right, speaking about the defense, Max Crosby, he just continues to put up numbers, even though he has been a little banged up. He leads the league in tackles for loss. He's 6th in sacks and 4th amongst defensive linemen in pass deflections. Do you have him in early Defensive Player of the Year discussions yet?
And he missed the game too. He's always in discussions to me. Obviously, us there covering the Raiders, we know what Max Crosby means to this team. We know how hard Max Crosby plays. Even some of the plays that do not get charted now, we see it because we're covering the Raiders. Max Crosby is the best player in the world right now on defense, in my humble opinion. And yes, there's the T.J. Watts, and yes, there's the Myles Garretts, and yes, there's Micah Parsons. There's these dudes, but in my humble opinion, nobody gets more from their team than Max Crosby. He gives everything every single down. My vote goes to Max Crosby right now. It just sucks that the Raiders are not helping him out by winning football games.
Well, all the injuries to the defensive line, I would have loved to see guys like Malcolm Kuntz and Christian Wilkins out there for the entire season. One last thing, give me a bold prediction, something we're going to see in this game.
Something we're going to see in this game, bold prediction, we're going to see Gardner Minshew throw for 300 yards. I know I said run it earlier. We're going to start off running it, but I think we can have a big day if we can run the football and get to some play-action pass, 300 yards passing for Gardner Minshew. All
right, I'm putting it in the books. JJ, it is always so much fun to hang. 300, I just wrote 300 Club right there. JJ, good hanging out with you. Thanks for stopping by.
Not a problem.
Coming up, some say the Raiders should have drafted a corner in April's draft. Jakorian Bennett is showing us why they didn't need to. We sit down with the second-year standout next on the Silver and Black Show.
Taste is not an option. Taste is everything. 1800, the world's most awarded tequila.
Every year, millions fly with us at Allegiant because together, we go places. We see old friends and try new things. We laugh. We really like to laugh. And reconnect. We remember. And we wander, which leads to wonder. From how we go to where we go to what we do when we get there, we go further together.
In 300 feet, turn left.
With Cox's fiber-powered internet, you can do brilliant things.
Exit approaching.
Like upload your voice to Dad's GPS in no time flat.
And I miss you, Daddy. Happy birthday.
Get multi-gig download speeds powered by fiber. Upgrade your internet today with Cox, the nation's fastest internet provider. Limited availability in select areas.
Hanging out with Raiders corner Jakorian Bennett. And, of course, I got to start out with us being Terps, both of us from the University of Maryland. How about that win over USC on homecoming? Did you want to be in that locker room when you saw all the videos coming out?
Yeah, no, for sure. No, I was watching on the bus as soon as we landed off the plane. Yeah. And I was sitting right by Zay, so we was both looking at, obviously he was going for USC. Yeah. But yeah, no, I definitely talking my trash.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I had to, of course, I had to start with that. When I asked Antonio Pierce, though, during training camp, I said, give me a player that you think could have a breakout kind of a year in 2024. And without hesitation, he said Jakorian Bennett. Yeah. What do you think he saw at camp from you that made him say that?
Honestly, I feel like just kind of like when I first got here, even like before this past training camp, he was just always in my corner, just somebody just, like we got like this little thing, I ask him if he's good, he'd be like, no, I'm great, you know what I'm saying? So he always tell me, go out there and just be great. And so I always knew he believed in me and I believe in myself, so yeah.
We look at the draft this year, 2024, is very deep at corner position. And the Raiders could have taken a corner at first, second, third round. There were a lot of good ones available, but they didn't go in that direction. When did you know that this organization expected big things from you? They expected you to be the starter here in 24 and have a big year?
Man, honestly, I just try to be the best version I can be. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't really get too caught up into that too much because, obviously we have good players here already. And so I just felt like, man, I just had to go out there, work hard, and be the best version of myself. And however the cards fall, that's how they fall. And so, yeah.
What would you say has been your biggest improvement from year one to year two?
Just really, like, kind of, I guess, slowing the game down. Just kind of having that experience from last year and just knowing what to expect and just really just kind of getting like a full off season to just really train for football and just not worry about the combine and pro day and all that stuff, but just really just kind of hone in on my weaknesses and just really, like how I said before, just kind of do everything in my power, just be the best version of myself.
People don't realize how long that year is, from going from college through the draft, through the all of that. It's a whole, you don't have any time off. And so there usually is a big jump from year one to year two because you get into your routine. Ricky Manning Jr., though, is your coach there at the corner position. He was responsible for helping to develop Sauce Gardner with the Jets, even going to Richard Sherman. He worked with the Legion of Boom back in the day. What has he done to help in your development? Man,
Ricky, good dude, man. We always kind of chopping it up and, like, even, like, things just outside of football. We just always asking, like, how you doing, like, how your mentals and all that stuff. But, he's definitely been helping me just kind of really hone in on the details and just really just focus on the basics and the fundamentals for the most part, because he knows, like, I'm a student of the game and always asking a lot of questions and he always got, like, all the answers. And so he's definitely been, and then another thing, like, he played in the league, so, like, he know, like, how everything works and just kind of, like, giving me tips on how his transition was. And so he's definitely been a pivotal part for sure.
You said that he's taught you to focus on the details. What specific details and things does he, for that position and the fundamentals, does he have you focusing on?
Yeah. So I feel like I can run with anybody. I feel like I'm fast. I pride my game off speed, but instead of me just kind of going out there and just relying on my speed, just more so just kind of focusing on the footwork, you know what I'm saying, and just winning with my technique rather than just athletic ability. So yeah, that was probably the biggest thing.
And we've seen you make some great plays out there. I think about the play that you made denying George Pickens against the Steelers. That was one just that comes to mind. But you never had a pick.
Yeah.
How are we going to get these deflections into your hands? How do you work on that?
Yeah, don't tell Jack that. He be on my head about it, man. But it's gonna come. I know. Yeah, I just gotta keep doing my job, and you know, when one pick comes, they come in bunches. So
they do.
I know, like, it's gonna come. I'm not gonna go out there and force it. Just kind of let it naturally come to me. But when it comes, I'm gonna catch it though, for sure.
Can't wait to see that, because you've definitely been in the position to make that happen. Growing up, who were some of the corners that you admired, that you wanted to be like, that you've modeled your game after? Yeah,
man. Of course, like, I feel like my favorite all-time DB is Charles Woodson, of course. Man, it's crazy that, you know, he played here, whatever, but just kind of coming out, just really like guys like Darrelle Revis, for sure. Howie Reeves, just him, just how he kind of dominated, like, that time he was with the Jets, and just having like that, the 2008, 2009 year when he was just kind of going crazy. And so, man, I actually had like the coaches make me a cut up of that year of his like press technique and stuff like that, and I just watched it all this offseason. So yeah.
Really, what did you see when you look at the tape, Revis Island? What'd you see?
Man, like you said, Revis Island, he was a dog. Like, like some of the things he was doing, he just kind of played so smooth, like, and just he didn't really just worry about. I guess he didn't really just go out there and just play with athletic ability. He really focused on the technique and just, he made it look good. I ain't gonna lie.
He did. He's one of the best to ever do it. You got the Chiefs coming up. Patrick Mahomes. We were talking about interceptions. He's tied for the league lead in interceptions. I know he's still Patrick Mahomes. But what is the key to slowing him down? You guys were able to do that last year.
Yeah. Man, you know, he's a magician. So, man, if we got to cover all day, you got to cover all day. But it's really just kind of communicating, you know, stand on top of the deep ball and just kind of eliminating all the explosives, you know, just kind of try to make them snap it again, and sooner or later, you know, we feel like we're a strong enough defense to, you know, get off the field or, you know, make them make a mistake and give us a turnover. So yeah.
Do you know that no corner in the NFL right now has a lower completion percentage against than you? You aware of that? 37%.
Nah, you know that.
Balls are thrown your way. Only 37% completion. That's pretty good.
Yeah, get some picks though.
You got to get the picks. But what mentality do you bring, especially to those kind of one-on-one matchups with the top receivers in the NFL? I mean, DeAndre Hopkins is going to be there on Sunday.
Right.
So what mentality do you bring in those matchups?
Man, I know that I put all the work in during this week, you know, and I just feel like I'm prepared, you know. So I just kind of go out there, and if you practice hard and prepare the right way, like, the game is, I'm not gonna say easy, but it's definitely easier than practice. I say that, you know. So I know I'm a dog, and it's just that's what this game about, you know, winning your one-on-one matchup. And so if I can win my one of the 11th piece of the defense, I feel like we'll be a solid defense.
Well, Jakorian, it's been really fun to watch you, especially grow from year one to year two. Can't wait to see you against the Chiefs this Sunday. Best of luck.
No, I appreciate you.
Thank you. Coming up, the Raiders quietly have the 7th-ranked pass defense in the NFL. So why do some say they're underachieving? We're going to break down the math next on the Silver and Black Show.
Some days are long, some nights never end. I'm on the fleeting seconds flight. I pray to the coming wind. And timelines never stood around for me. I love every sky I've ever seen.
Taste is not an option. Taste is everything. 1800, the world's most awarded tequila.
Every year, millions fly with us at Allegiant because together, we go places. We see old friends and try new things. We laugh. We really like to laugh. And reconnect. We remember. And we wander, which leads to wonder. From how we go to where we go to what we do when we get there, we go further together.
Celebrate 65 seasons of Raiders football. Be a part of our legacy with a special edition brick featuring the exclusive 65th anniversary logo. Get your brick installed at Allegiant Stadium along with a replica for your home or office. Order now and support the Raiders Foundation, benefiting military and veterans, wellness initiatives, and youth development. Secure your place in Raiders history today at RaidersFoundationBricks.com. The Silver and Black Show has been brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders, Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Las Vegas Raiders and the NFL, and by Allegiant, the official airline of the Raiders. Low fares, non-stop flights, only at Allegiant.com. Time now for one last thing. Upon further review, the Raiders' 12th ranked defense is playing some solid ball. Stay with me here because numbers do lie. Over the last 3 games, the Raiders have given up 86 total points, 47 of which have come off of turnovers. That leaves only 39 points scored where the Raiders' defense actually made them go the length of the field and earn it. That's an average of only 13 points a game. Those other 47 points were either defensive touchdowns, which we all know is completely on the offense, or points earned after the opponent was given a short field because the offense turned the ball over.
We got to take care of the ball, though. But in a couple of those opportunities, except for the sack fumble, we could just throw the ball away, right? Just play another down, allow us to punt, whatever it may be. Talk about protecting the football. It always has to be the Raiders' ball. Always has to be the Raiders' ball. And I think as Gardner goes through this week, and our staff as well, it's constantly reminding everybody that we need to do a good job of taking care of the football, because if we allow ourselves to lose a turnover battle this week, it'll go opposite for the Raiders.
And just like last week, the Rams scored 2 touchdowns where their drive started at the Las Vegas 31 and 47-yard line, respectively. That was the result of 2 Gardner Minshew interceptions. So in that situation, how does the defense even have a chance? More so, what's the point in having one of the best punters in the league if the field position game is not even left up to him? And oh, by the way, we're going to see the 2 best punters in the league on Sunday. A.J. Cole and KC's Matt Araiza are both averaging 52 yards per punt. That's the best in the league. Field position will be everything. And if I may add one more last thing before we go, can we just give some flowers to Robert Spillane? The man is leading the NFL in solo tackles. The respect he gets from analysts and opposing defensive coordinators seems to be outpacing the fans right now. As Sports Illustrated's Carter Landis wrote, yes, Max Crosby is the heart and soul of the Raiders, but perhaps Spillane is the lungs. I like that. That'll do it for us. It's Chiefs-Raiders, 1:25 p.m. kickoff from Allegiant Stadium. We'll see you out there, Raider Nation. Have a great weekend.